and my spiritual mentor, Bob Lancer. And Bob and I have been working together, I don't know, for like a year and a half, I think it's been now. And I've been inspired to bring together a bunch of spiritual teachers, thought leaders that I know who have been really helpful to me because I feel like this is a weird time that we're living in, and there's a lot of turmoil going on right now, but there's also a lot of beautiful opportunities and opportunities for transformation and change. And Bob has certainly been that for me in my life. So I wanted to bring him to you guys. He's sort of like a treasure that not a lot of people know about, and we really should, because because he has this incredible this process that he calls the method, which is to help us release the emotions, the difficult emotions that we're all feeling right now. In fact, I had a session with him today myself and worked through like a big piece of anxiety that I was feeling, and I felt better after the end of it. And I want to share this with you. So thank you guys for being here, and thank you, Bob, for being here.
It's my pleasure. And, a big part of the work that we do comes down to commitment. And, the question that you have to ask yourself, as we discussed earlier today, Lisa, is, are you willing to commit 100% to living in unconditional peace, love, and joy?
I think that
Yeah.
sounds like a good idea, Bob, but how do we do it in these, of course we all want that, but how does that actually happen, especially when there's so much turmoil in the world right now?
Yeah, I don't know. Just kidding. Maintain a sense of humor is one thing, right? The way you do it, if it were just talking about commitment, it's a decision that you make. And it's a decision that you'll have to make a number of times, because we've been programmed since childhood to believe that we have to rely on stress and strain and anxiety and push and control and worry and figuring things out. And that represents, if you look at it from a broader perspective, that represents a relationship with the universe or a relationship with the divine that's dysfunctional, right? And so most of us have gone through some degree of dysfunction in our relationship with our parents growing up. And if you think you had like the perfect childhood growing up, you're probably the most messed up, because you got a lot of denial going on. If you were born into this planet, you were born to face challenge, and being programmed in early childhood to have a dysfunctional relationship with the universe, with the divine, pretty much goes with the territory. It's kind of what we sign up for as souls, because it's through that challenge, through meeting the challenge, that we grow in our power, we grow in our awakening, we grow in our mastery. So if you make the commitment that I'm going to practice unconditional peace and poise no matter what happens, then on a functional basis, I have to look at, well, what is it that gets me disturbed? And most people think that what disturbs them is what happens to them or what happens outside of them. If you pay close attention, you'll discover that all of your internal states of disturbance are internally created, that you're creating them, that the way you react is how you treat yourself in response to what happens. And so when we use the method, what we do is we clear ourselves of the attachment to disturbed inner states. And that brings us up to something that you and I have talked about many times, the crossroads. And the crossroads takes you right up to the edge where you say, okay, I realize now I actually have a choice. I've done enough work with the method where I can choose to either go into stress about, let's say, what's going on with this, this corona, whatever it is, or I can not go into stress about it. And then what we understand is, well, how do I not go into stress about it? Well, by paying attention to how you feel, by paying attention to your thoughts, by noticing what you put your attention on. If you're feeling stressed out, it's about either what you're putting your attention on, and you can remove your attention from that, or it's just this internal state of turbulence. You're not even aware of what's causing it, but it's happening inside of you. So once you have the method, you make a choice. You say, look, in this situation, what do I want to count on? Do I want to count on fear and stress and anger and frustration and impatience and rush to make my life work? Or am I willing to take the ultimate risk? And remember, in life, the more you're willing to risk, the more you're willing to receive. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I had a client a couple of years ago, very wealthy man. He was making about $500,000 a month. And we were talking about why he can't become a billionaire. And he finally came to the understanding that in order to become a billionaire, if you have $999 million, you have to be willing to risk it all to get to that billion. And he realized he's too attached to what he has and he can't do it. And in that moment, I realized, well, gee, I got a billionaire mindset because I'm willing to risk everything all the time on inner peace. I've had to choose inner peace when it came to situations where I was threatened to whether or not I was going to be able to be with my children after a divorce. I had to choose inner peace when I had absolutely no money. And if I didn't have money, I wouldn't be able to have my children. I wouldn't have a home. I wouldn't have anything. And I had to choose inner peace then. And so when you make the choice to live in inner peace unconditionally, and then you take responsibility for how do I get out of peace and how do I get into peace, the method is the key to get into peace. If you keep making that choice, no matter what the risks, no matter what the challenges, you find it works. You find it absolutely works, that all this catastrophizing that's going on is in your imagination. And whatever you imagine, you're putting your creative energy into. Now, what most people don't recognize, and you and I have talked about this also many times, they don't recognize that what they're fearful of is in their mind. For instance,
It's
if
a
I
really
say,
hard concept. I mean, because we can look at the world and say it's not in it's outside my
yeah,
door. It's in my bank
where's the
account. It's
coronavirus? Yeah, where like
yeah.
right now, where's the coronavirus? Well, it's out in the world. It's in every country. It's in every. But where is it in terms of your direct experience right now? Even if you have somebody next to you who's been diagnosed with it, right? Where does it exist in your consciousness? It's a state of your mind. You have to keep in your mind this concept, this idea, this vision, this belief about this condition, this coronavirus. It's in your mind. And every time you put it in your mind, you are lending your creative forces to its growth, to its life, to its strength, its power, and its spreading. We create what we think about. And it's not just sitting down and creating a vision board and visualizing something you want. It's when your fear is getting you to visualize something you don't want or something that disturbs you. You're creating that condition. You're creating your financial problems that way. You're creating your health problems that way. You're creating your relationship problems that way. So we become very conscious of what we're holding our attention on because we can see I'm creating what I'm holding my attention on.
It made me so angry when I figured that out. Because I and there's that feeling. It's not like the blame the victim kind of feeling, but I think that you're calling people to take higher responsibility for what
100%.
what they're thinking and feeling. Up until I met the method and I didn't know how to do that because
Right.
and that for me that was the problem with sort of the law of attraction, the generalized law of attraction stuff, because I couldn't figure out how to force myself to be happy all the time, or how to think only happy positive thoughts, or how to I couldn't figure out how to shift my state because those feelings are so raw and powerful when they're coming up. And what's been great for me about the method is that it doesn't require me to push my feelings away. In fact, it's all about going deep into your feelings, going deeper than I've ever been into my feelings, and allowing them to really be there. And then as I show up for my feelings in this way, they resolve, and then I might naturally go back into a state of peace. And I might have to do it 10 times a day on a day where I'm really watching the news, because the fear that's going on right now is so survival. It's so back of the spine, back of the brainstem, like our survival fear comes up. And I've been doing it a lot and not fluffing off the feelings. That's not what the method's about, right?
No, that's exactly right. And there's going to be many people who are listening to this, and they're going to be listening to this on YouTube long after the coronavirus has vanished. But there could be a lot of people who are listening to this right now and saying, this guy's delusional. This guy's delusional. What do you mean the coronavirus is not out there? What do you mean it's in my head? That's delusional. And that's because they're not paying attention to what's going on in their head. Right? If I were to ask you, what's your financial condition right now? You're probably going to go like this, and you're going to start thinking thoughts about your financial condition. And then you're going to tell me what it is. Well, where did you just go? You just went into your mind. You said, oh, no. It's on my bank account. Where's your bank account? My bank account is in that. You just went into your mind again. And so when you're what we have to take 100% accountability for is the images, the thoughts we allow to come into the world. Because what you're thinking about, you're allowing to come into the world on a manifest level. The reason I call it the method, this process of getting to the point where you can choose peace, you can choose joy, you can choose a peaceful, joyful, harmonious way of dealing with every situation. You basically learn how to live a problem-free life. Sounds impossible, sounds too good to be true. I call it the method because it works, and it works every time I use it. Sometimes I have to use it several times if I've been going through some real trauma coming up, but the more I use it, the less I need it, but I still do it because it still opens up to joy. So I call it the method because it's the missing piece. It's the missing key to all the wisdom teachings we get, all the motivational teachings we get. Stay positive, focus on what you want, create a vision board, get into the vortex. All that stuff sounds great until something happens that triggers off your deep fear or your feeling of powerlessness. Now, all of a sudden, you believe the boogeyman is outside of you, right? The problem is outside of me, and I don't have any power over it. But if you practice the method, you become more and more internally aware, and you
Yeah.
actually recognize there is no out there, that all you ever experience is a state of consciousness. Then it takes tremendous courage where you're going to say, I'm no longer going to lend my creative forces to what I don't want to experience. And I'm going to allow myself to live in the peace that comes after we do the method. Usually for the first time, sometimes it takes a couple of times. There's this peace, right? There's this bliss. There's this particular quality of joy. I call it paradise. There's this particular quality of joyful peace, quiet, inner harmony, contentment, happiness that just fills you up as you let go of these emotional patterns that have been locking your energy in. And then you make the choice to live consciously enough in your feelings so you can be guided by what expands the peace, what supports the peace, what preserves the peace. And then you can recognize when a thought is taking you out of the peace, when an emotional reaction, when a desire, when a physical activity or a way of physical activity. And you can then be guided by your feelings to stay out of hell and to live in this heavenly grace. And then the fascinating thing, the quantum physics aspect of it all is the more harmony and peace, and we learn this from many different areas, many different schools of thought, the more inner harmony and peace and tranquility and joy and fulfillment you live in as an inner state, the more that causes the circumstances around you to manifest in line with your heart's deepest desires. But then we're very careful with the method because we know we don't get attached to those things as our source. We recognize, oh, this is wonderful. I enjoy it. I'm grateful for it. I'm going to, you meet the perfect partner. I'm going to have as much fun as I want to have with this person. However, I'm always going to be challenged to maintain my inner state of grace, my inner state of peace. So the method frees us from any disturbing internal state of reaction you're going through, but it's up to you to make the choice. Are you fed up? Are you done with emotional suffering? Are you done with worry? Are you done with feeling bad about yourself? Are you done with beating yourself up? Are you done with low self-worth? Are you done with feeling like life is not worth living? Are you done with overwhelm? Are you done with the stress of success? Are you done with inner pain, with inner discomfort? Are you ready to live a life of complete and total joy? Would you choose it if you could have it? Or do you feel you want to stay down in the lower levels and struggle and suffer some more? If you're ready to come out, the method can take you out. It can take you out of that pain into a higher level of consciousness where your relationship with the universe is now functional, where now you're relating to the universe as an absolutely loving place that always has your interests in mind, that is all set up for the fulfillment of your heart's desire, that the nature of reality is absolute love. Now, you can doubt that, but watch what you do to yourself when you doubt that. You can use the method to free you from that doubt, and then you start experiencing that more and more. Not only do you experience more joy, more life, and more love, but those things that you would have always wanted to manifest, now that you don't even need them anymore to be happy, they just start coming. They bloom in the garden of the universe, and you just pick the fruit off the tree, and it's ripe, and it's sweet, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, it certainly has been that way for me, and I'm I've found that it's helping me disconnect my sense of well-being from the outer world, you know, because things come and go, things go up and down, crises happen and they resolve, wonderful things happen and they resolve. So the world is ever changing. And if I'm connecting my state, my inner state to what's happening in the world, then that's like what the Buddhists, you know, one of the reasons why we suffer is that attachment to the outer world. And it always seemed like, well, yeah, Buddha could figure it out, but I'm just a person. Like, I don't know how, like, I'm just a person. Like, how do I get there? You know, how do I get there with my own pain and my own trauma and my own inner neuroses and my challenges in my life? And it's been so interesting for me because since we started working together, the challenges have escalated. Like, they were little and would do the method and
Right.
okay, I got that. And then the challenge would get bigger and I'd be like, but it doesn't work for this, Bob. It doesn't work for this thing. And then I would do it and it, you know, that would be okay. And that's been happening. Like, this is a big one. this is a really big one. I'm like, but it doesn't work for this, Bob. And it's like, now here we are, like, and it does, you know. So it's just it's so interesting that how there's been that, and every time it's escalated, I've had to wrestle with my attachment to my state of being attached, like out there, like whatever it is out there. And when we've had that conversation many times, when you're like, Lisa, where is that happening? And I'm like, no, this one is really happening out there.
Oh, it's real, right, right. And so the universe functions on two levels. There's the ever-changing patterns of the universe. Every planet is in the process of disintegrating. Every solar system is in the process of disintegrating. Our bodies are in the process of disintegrating. Everything in the world is in process. You know, I don't care if you have $10 billion. It's on the way out. It's disintegrating. And I don't care if you can get 10 billion more. You can't hang on to it. It's going to turn like sand going through your fist. But then there's another level. There's the level that creates the level, right? And so this is when I start getting into the deeper teachings of Kabbalah with people. So there's everything that's on the visible level. And this is also physics. Everything that's on the visible level is the product of an invisible matrix of forces. Invisible structure, function, order of forces that are producing everything on the visible plane. And that structure, the invisible dimension, the inner dimension, is permanent. See, the outer is a reflection of the inner, and the reflection means it's the opposite. Here you age. In reality, on the deeper levels of consciousness, there's no aging, there's no birth, there's no death, there's no change. There's just perfect harmony and order. The ancient Greeks called it the sphiros. The source, the cause of all being, the oneness is a perfect state of absolute perfection and harmony and beauty and love, an absolute perfect state. And in the ancient Greek mysteries, you would go through these initiations in order to make direct contact, direct conscious physical contact with the sphiros, so that you recognize that no matter what it's looking like on the outer, it's always being formed into order and beauty. So even when something falls apart, let's say a relationship or a living situation or anything, it's going to be reformed, recalibrated, recreated, resurrected, we can say, into a higher state of beauty and order. Now, when you experience that consciously enough, you laugh at the losses because you realize this is just a chimera. This is just a veil. And what's losing is simply in the process of turning into the fulfillment of an even greater heart's desire that I have. And often we have to go through what feels like catastrophe for that. You know, I went through a divorce where I felt like I wanted to die. I didn't want to live through it. The pain was so amazing. And what was the pain about? I was so terrified. My life lost meaning. I wasn't going to be with my kids. I was never going to have love again. And I did the method and did the method and did the method. And I found myself happier, freer, more in love, more abundant, more joyful. And my life is so much better than it ever was in my entire life. And here I thought I was facing the end of the line. And I was writing suicide notes. I was so depressed. Through the method, you make contact with that fourth and fifth dimension. You make contact. Not just the fourth dimension is the energy level of everything. The fifth dimension is the organizing principle of the energy, which is absolute love. All of your pain is coming from your imagination. And it's coming from programming, particularly in the first 6 years, of these deep emotional reactions of pain, these trauma patterns that basically create a dysfunctional relationship with the universe. The universe is too big. The universe is out to get me. I can't rely on the universe. through the method, you awaken to the realization, it's not theory anymore. You awaken to the realization that love is behind it all. And it's just about letting go of your attachment to what passes, learning, using the method to let go of the attachment to what passes so you can live in that love and harmony and bliss and beauty and grace. And then you just watch it pass and you laugh, and then it all comes back at a higher level. And it goes down and it goes back up to a higher level, and it goes down back up to a higher level, and it's eternal, right? People actually believe that they have one life. You believe that you're going to die. You're not going to die. Your body's going to check out for a while so your soul can go to a higher place, get nourishment, come back and do it again from a higher level. But if you're conscious, you go through that whole process without fear, with joy, with beauty, with grace. But if you're totally identified with this body is me and I only have this one life, if you're not paying enough attention to the mind, you think that's truth. If you pay enough attention to the mind, you realize it's a belief. It's just a thought. It's just an idea that you have. And then you recognize that idea is disturbing. I can let go of that idea. Using the method, I can let go of that idea. Now I can start to relate to myself as an eternal being in an infinitely heavenly experience that's expanding into more and more joy. And people can feel the energy coming through my experience of this. And that's why when we do the method, we become healers in our very presence. Because the energy that comes through you when you make contact with these deeper dimensions, the energy that comes through you is so harmonizing, so beautiful, so joyful that people, if they're the least bit open to feeling happy, they get it.
Well, let's try it. Let's do the method.
Okay.
Because
All
I
right.
think it would really help people. And I know there are a lot of people right now that are really, anxious and fearful and, upset and scared. And I think it's a good thing to share this. So let's do it.
Okay, here we go. So I'm going to do it the way I do it on our webinars. And I'm going to start by asking questions to help people to get into their feelings. Okay. So the method is a feeling process. And it's important that you open up to whatever painful feelings are in there. How people try to cope with their feelings, they push them down. That just keeps the energy locked in them, keeps your joy. Joy equals energy, equals power, equals abundance. Your joy is locked in your painful emotions. You've got to let the painful emotions up, then use the method on them to allow yourself to go into joy. So many of those who are listening right now, when you go through the method, you're going to experience it. Those who don't, you can contact me or contact Lisa, and we'll get you a way to be guided through the method as many times as you need to in order to experience it. So I'm
Yep.
going to ask you some questions to help you get in touch with your feelings. So close your eyes if you like and listen to these questions. And the first one is, if you have any concern about world events, feel your feelings now. If you have any concern about world events, feel your feelings now. If there's any area of your life that you feel frustrated with or disappointed by, feel your feelings now. If you have any fear, worry, or discouragement about your future, feel your feelings now. If you see yourself or another person as a victim, feel your feelings now. If you feel stuck, trapped, blocked, or oppressed, feel your feelings now. If you regard any aspect of yourself as imperfect, feel your feelings now. If you see your life as inferior to another person's life, feel your feelings now. Feel whatever's coming up inside of you. Open yourself to it. Notice the experience of opening to how you feel. This is going to be the new practice, to open to your feelings instead of resist your feelings. So just keep feeling your feelings. Notice what part of your body your feelings are in. If you're not feeling any disturbance, that's fine too. If you're feeling numbness, that's okay too. If you're feeling nothing, that's a feeling too. Just open to whatever feelings are coming up in you. Feel those for a little bit longer. Now we're going to make a shift. And I want you to feel love for yourself. Give yourself the feeling of you loving you. So we're not thinking, this is not a thinking exercise, this is a feeling exercise. You're not thinking thoughts, I'm a good person, I love myself. That's powerless. You're trying to experience the actual feeling of your love going into you. Your love going into your body, your love going into your soul, your love going into your heart, your love filling you up. This is an exercise. These are new muscles. So just do the best you can with it. Feel you loving you. Do the best you can with it. Now, we're going to go through it a little more quickly than I usually go through it. And when I do it one-on-one, we can go a lot deeper. But as a group, this also has tremendous power. So what I want you to do now is I want you to feel, on a feeling level now, I want you to feel the space opening up inside of you. Feel that space expanding until it's as big as the universe. This doesn't have to be a solid crystallized visualization. Just feel a sense of a space opening up inside you, expanding and expanding, expanding. And now you step inside that space and feel filled with this heavenly divine energy. Feel heavenly divine energy filling up your body, filling up your soul, filling up your being, filling up this infinite space you created. Feel infinite divine heavenly energy filling the whole universe right now. Just do the best you can to feel this. This is an exercise of a spiritual muscle, of a feeling muscle. Feel the whole universe just filled with this heavenly divine energy. Now we're going to shift into a feeling of self-value. And what I want you to try to give yourself the feeling now, give yourself the feeling of being infinitely valuable. Give yourself that feeling. You know, so many people help us to feel devalued and less than valuable. You're going to take this upon yourself, take responsibility for yourself to feel unconditionally, infinitely valued, infinitely valuable. Give yourself the feeling of being infinitely valuable to yourself, being infinitely valuable to everyone in the world, being infinitely valued to God, to the universe. Do the best you can to feel the feeling of being precious and sacred and infinitely valuable. These are feelings you're working on, not thoughts. These are feelings. Now, I want you to shift into an awareness of your gifts and talents, the things you're naturally good at. Maybe you're a good reader. Maybe you're a good writer. Maybe you're good at communication. Maybe you're loving and kind and sweet and gentle. Maybe you're creative and spontaneous. Maybe you're a good speaker. Maybe you're a good coach. Maybe you're a good healer. Maybe you're a good musician. Whatever it is you're naturally good at, I want you to become aware of that because that'll bring the joy of that to you. And that defines your true life path. That defines your path to life, to joy, to love, is relying on what you're naturally good at. That's where your power and true abundance is going to come from. Now, the next step. I want you to feel the feeling of being connected to every human being on the planet. Just feel your consciousness going around the globe and feel that you are connecting consciously with everyone on the planet with a feeling of unconditional love and an intention to be of service. You're not judging anyone, no matter what they've done, no matter who they are. Try to give yourself this feeling of connecting with every human being, feeling unconditionally loving toward them. And I want you to feel that every human being is unconditionally loving towards you. And this is because everyone is doing exactly what you need them to do for your growth, and you're doing what they need you to do for their growth. Just feel the sense of connecting with everyone on the planet with unconditional love. And now we go to the next step. We have 2 more to go. This one and one more. I want you to give yourself the feeling of having infinite abundance. Infinite abundance. Feel the sense of being totally wealthy. Whatever the perfect financial condition is for you, imagine the feeling of being in that condition and relate to that feeling as your true condition. Relate to the fact, the reality that from a physics standpoint, you always have access to the infinite resources of the universe. It's only the mind that can cut us off from that. So you're going to drop all ideas of lack and limitation and just allow yourself to feel. The only reason you want to have a lot of money is so you don't have to care about money. You can do that now. Feel the sense of being totally wealthy. And you realize that whatever you're feeling manifests in the material world. But you're not doing this to manifest anything. You're just doing it to experience the feeling of financial freedom and security that you've always wanted. Feel it total, feel it perfect, feel it limitless. Open your heart to the feeling of total unlimited abundance. And now for the last step. Feel the sense of completely letting go of control over your life and trusting God, trusting the universe, trusting reality to handle everything for you. As if there's nothing you have to worry about, there's nothing you have to struggle for, you don't have to work hard for anything, you don't have to be concerned about any mistakes, that the universe is essentially love. And feel that you're just turning yourself over to this endless ocean of love where you're going to just float on this sea of love, completely let go of control of your life with absolute trust that all your needs will always be met, you'll always be taken care of, you'll always be perfectly provided for. Give yourself this feeling. You've longed for this feeling all your life. Give it to yourself now. And as you feel this sense of surrender and trust in the universe, take a nice deep breath. When your lungs are filled, fill them a little more. Then hold your breath for 3 seconds. And then exhale with a sigh of absolute release, absolute relief. And that's the method. If you're feeling bliss, you can stay there with your eyes closed as long as you want. Open them when you're ready. Recognize how you feel. If this worked for you, stay in this feeling of bliss. This is harmony. This is the divine presence. This is the harmony of the fifth dimension, the harmony of the universe flowing through you, organizing and orchestrating perfectly all the events of your life to line up with your heart's deepest desire.
Thanks, Bob.
Well, it's my pleasure. This is what I do for fun.
Yeah, that's great. I want to wrap up now and just let how do people reach you? Is it lovethemethod.com? Is that
Yep.
where the website?
They can reach me directly through lovethemethod.com. They can reach me through you. They can reach me
Mhm.
through, this will be on my Facebook, your Facebook, YouTube. But the
Yep,
easiest,
yep.
go to lovethemethod.com. You'll see lots of videos there. You see more videos of my work with Lisa. And you'll see a way to contact me, and we can set up a time on phone or Skype, and I'll guide you directly through the method. We talk about how I can be of service to you. This is what I do full time. This is all I've ever done in my adult life. From the age of 21 is when I started working with my teacher. By the time I was 28, I was doing this full time. And I've done this for my entire life. This working on helping people spiritually, I guess it's what I've been born to do.
We need it now more than ever. This is the time I think where our spiritual teachers are really we have an opportunity to help, sort of shape the new world. That so the old world is changing, like that whole the wheel the wheel is turning, the old is leaving, and something new is coming will come into its place. And we have an opportunity to help form that, and all of you guys that are listening too. So that's what we're doing.
Yay.
Thank you, Bob.
Yay, us.
Thanks, and we'll see you. Thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you around.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.